Hello, vinyl community. Elliot here, Lazy Dogs Records. And I've got a new record cleaning machine I just purchased a couple of weeks ago. Haven't had a chance to use it too much. I've used it some. Thought I'd do a video to show you the record cleaning machine and let you know what I think of it and how it seems to be working, why I purchased it, this and that sort of thing. And I'll give you a demonstration with it. First of all, let me say this is totally an amateur video of a record collector, hobbyist. I didn't receive any compensation from Music Hall or anybody else. I just purchased it, and I'm not seeking any compensation whatsoever. This is not a monetized account, and this is just for fun. So it's just informative to let you know about this particular uh, record cleaning machine and show you my technique for cleaning and things like that. I've got earlier videos about the solutions that I use in my cleaning and showing you how I clean records. They're a little dated in that I'm using equipment that I no longer use. So this will kind of be an update of that, I guess. Uh, Previous to this, I had used a VPI 16.5 record cleaning machine, and I like that machine. Still have it. I haven't gotten rid of it or anything. I bought it used. It was about 7 or 8 years old, and I've used it a couple of years now, so it's around 10 years old now. But I was experiencing a couple of issues with it. One of which is the wand. You see the wand on this music hall here. The wand, I was having to manipulate it a lot by hand. It wasn't aligning quite correctly a lot, and I was just having to manually manipulate it. The second issue was the most record cleaning machines, the casing or the case frame of it is made of wood and with a laminate cover usually or something like that, which is probably fine with a lot of people when they clean records. But when I clean records, I move a lot of water and a lot of solution around. And the way the VPI was built, you put the record inside and it had, walls around it, maybe that much higher than the record. And I would be cleaning and brushing and accumulating a lot of liquid inside the casing of the VPI. And that led, and I would clean it up periodically, get the water up. But obviously, water soaked into that wood, and I was beginning to see warping. And to the extent, the worst example being the corners on this end, the left and right corner, corners were separating, and so I was looking for something different that might avoid that particular problem. That's when I came across the music hall, because it's not made of wood. It's made of some sort of aluminum or other metal. So that should alleviate that problem. But anyway, I'll tell you some of the features of this and move it down a little bit here for you to see. You've got the motor switch to turn the platter, and you can go in either direction. Now, I don't know if that's really an advantage. Maybe. So far, I've just run it in the traditional direction, turning clockwise when I clean. I haven't seen the need to go back and forth. Maybe if I have a really dirty record that I can't seem to get everything out of, maybe I could try that. And then you've got, of course, the vacuum motor. Now, one feature of this vacuum motor is that I have a dial right here, and I can, reduce or increase the amount of suction. And what I've had it set on is about halfway point. You know, you don't want it to be, you don't need it to be too great, and you want it to be enough that it's going to pull up all the fluid and all the organic particles that have been dislodged uh, in cleaning. So uh, that's a nice feature, but I don't know. Once you get adjusted where you need it, I don't think it really matters after that point. Uh, Comes with this cover. One interesting or good quality thing. This covers the whole label. Now, a lot of people were afraid they're going to ruin the record label if it gets wet. I haven't ever had seen that as being a problem. Uh, and this piece just goes on top and tightens it down. I haven't seen that really as a problem. And all the records I've cleaned, when they get wet, they even with solution on them, when you wipe them dry, once they have a chance to dry, they're back to their normal self. But let me show you how this works now. Just quickly, my method for cleaning is based on Neil Anton's book on record cleaning. I highly recommend it. I'll put a link to uh, his book, which is free. You can download it online and have it in your computer. I'll put a link down below. But I'm using two different cleaning solutions, and I'm rinsing between each. Uh, I use just simple condiment uh, containers to put the liquid on, and I use these. These are actually Record Doctor, and they work real well. I have a dedicated brush for each step so that I don't contaminate them. I've found recently that by adding this lamp, and I won't turn it on because it'll interfere in the video here, but normally what I do is I'll have this lamp on, and you'll be surprised at what looks like to the naked eye a clean record when you put it on with this lamp shining on, how many dust particles you see just sitting on top. It's not that they're in the grooves interfering with the play, but of course they eventually can work their way down there. So it's interesting. So one of the things I will do is I'll spray uh, with one of these sprayers, still water. I will spray the record first all the way around, and with the distilled water, and then not brushing, but then I'll just vacuum that off. Hopefully, that will get any of that dust or other particles up before we actually start using a brush. Because the fear is if you don't do that when you're using the brush, you could work some of those organic matter, some of those particles down into the grooves, and then you've got a little more difficulty in getting them out. We don't want to contend with any of them. We don't have to. So do that. And another advantage, when you spray, if the water beads up, that tells you there's no residual surfactant or cleaning solution on the record. That you have surface tension. And you're trying to overcome surface tension with your surfactant. You want it to get down, the liquid to get down into grooves. So if you spray it first with distilled water and you get beading, any previous owner that may have cleaned this record cleaned it properly and got all the residual out of the record, so you don't have any foggy or cloudy audio interference in the record, because it's extremely important. Uh, if you do have a record that has been cleaned improperly by somebody, either what they're using or they didn't rinse it out after they applied the cleaning solution, you're going to have a lot harder time getting it cleaned at the end. Okay. Now, the first cleaning solution, or the pre-clean as it's sometimes called, this is made up of Liquinox and distilled water. 1 ounce of Liquinox to in a gallon of water, and then I put it from that gallon jug into this. Okay, you can go as high as 2 ounces of this if you choose to. Just know that the more Liquinox you got in it, the harder it is to rinse it out at the end, and you're going to get more use, the more suds or foam you get. That's important, but you don't have. It's not about how much foam you get. It's that you got enough foam to pull up and help combine with the particles you're working up, so that it can be vacuumed away, washed away. Okay. So then that's followed by a rinse, and then a second clean. And now this one is made up of Triton X100. I've got 1 ounce of that, and I've got a 16-ounce bottle of isopropyl alcohol. 70% is fine. You can use that. You can use the 91. It doesn't really matter. And in the same situation, I'm taking a gallon of distilled water. I'm pouring out 17 ounces of it and replacing it with the alcohol and the 10% Triton X100. That's important. When you buy Triton X100, you're buying at 100%. You got to dilute that into a 10% solution, and then it's the 10% solution that you take 1 ounce of and add with the alcohol into the distilled water to make this. That's very important. Please take note of that. And again, I'm using these Record Doctor brushes. So let's just go over my cleaning. And today I'll clean this excellent Willie Nelson album I picked up used. This is The Sound in Your Mind, mid-70s record, 1976. I've had a copy of this in my collection since it came out. I believe this is one I picked up in a while, though. I always start with side 1. That way you don't question yourself. Have I already done the other side? Start with side 1 and then do side 2. Okay, simply goes on here. And then I've got that. Making sure you can see all this on the screen. And tightening this down. Now I'm going to focus the camera more on the machine now. So the first thing, I'm not going to turn the lamp on, but I'm going to assume that it's dust sitting on top of it. So the first thing I'm going to do is just simply spray. And if you can see there, I've got a nice bead. And you may not be able to see it with the camera depending on the size of your. If you're looking at this with your phone, you probably can't. But I've got a nice beading here. So I don't have solution that is a build up from a previous cleaner. Okay, and start it rotating, and I'm just gonna take this up, and this will take up any particles, dust, that sort of thing that might be sitting on the top. Now, watch this. It's important that it lines up properly. It sat down nicely. That shows I'm used to having that alignment problem. I went kind of almost instinctively to this to kind of line it up, but it was lining itself up fine. Okay, now I'm going to take my first solution, which is the Liquinox, and just put some out right like that. Take my first brush, which is for my first clean, until it comes around here. and I'm going to vigorously. I'm not bearing down hard, but but a little bit. But I'm vigorously I'm meaning my wrist motion. I'm turning that, and that's getting on into the grooves. Hopefully, the brush the brushes are not going into the grooves, but what it's doing is kind of wedging and forcing the liquid solution into the grooves. It's pushing it down in there. It's not going down there in itself. It's not designed. The brush is not designed to scrape off particles in the grooves. It's just designed to get the solution in there so we can achieve the chemical reaction that we need that will dislodge those. Okay, so now I'm going to that down nice. See, this is really doing its job very well. I like the way the wand is setting down properly. Okay, once I've done that, I'm going to need to clean uh, the excess or residual cleaner off. So I'm going to spray. Now, if I get a lot of beading, that tells me that most of it's already gone. I've gotten some beading, uh, but not complete. So now I'm going to take one of my my distilled water cleaning brushes, rinsing brushes, and I'm going to brush. And here's where that vigorous action is going to get the water all over me. And that's why I've got the apron on. So you're going to move that around. Now, a couple of things here. If I'm seeing a lot of suds still, even with the rinse, that's telling me that either this solution is too high a concentration, or, as I'd said previously, a previous cleaning had not removed uh, all the residual solution in it, and it's going to make it a little harder to clean. But this doesn't have any trace of suds, so it should mean we've got it all out. Now I'm going to take my second solution, which again is the alcohol and the isopropyl alcohol and the Triton X100 at 10% dilution of that into distilled water. Going like that. Now I've got a second brush here, using the same one I used for the first clean, the second brush, and I'm going to do the same thing. And I'll do that about 6 to 8 rotations around, which is about, I'll kind of count in my head to about 30 or 40. And that gives me about 6 or 8 rotations around. And see, I want to go over here just like I'd been doing previously and help push this wand down, but I don't need to. Okay, it gives it plenty of time to clean it. I'll let it go around a few rotations. And now I'm going to take my distilled water once again. And just as before, I'm getting some good beading here, but there's probably still there's some spots that are a wider bead, which kind of indicates to me that there's still a little bit of solution there. What happens if you don't get all the residual surfactant out? You can get kind of a clouding or a masking sound in the record. It's not real noticeable. If you've got a real delicate ear, you pick it up more than someone who's just has normal hearing. Uh, it has to be real bad for me to really hear it, to be honest with you. I can't claim that I've got this really great ear. And again, I'm trying to rinse, and this is splashing all up on me. That's fine because I've got the apron on. Okay. Okay. Now I'll do this again because it probably half or more of the records you clean, you could literally just use some distilled water and a brush and get them as clean as you're going to get them as you need to get them. We're using the surfactant for the other 50 or 40% that require more. Spray it again, and it's even more beading. It's all beading, although some of the beads are a little bigger than the others. And this should pretty much suck everything up that's there, and it makes it fairly dry. Now I'm going to do it one more time because I can't emphasize enough how important it is to rinse. All right, and so that's it's beating up a great deal now. It's all beating up. I don't think I've got any residual still on it. Some of the places you may get more a wider bead, and a lot of that has to do with I'm using the spray bottle, and the place where the spray actually hits the record uh, and the most central concentration is just going to create that. Now, I'm simply going to, take this off, remove the label cover. Any excess water there, I'll wipe off with a microfiber cloth. Don't use this any more than you have to. You touch that record with any cloth, I don't care how lint free it's supposed to be, you're going to put some, dust or lint or particles back on the top of that record. It's probably not going to be enough to hurt unless it gets down into the grooves later on, but you want to avoid as much of that as possible. Even using a brush, and I do it on my turntable, even using a brush, and I use one of these, uh, if I see visible dust on a record, because inevitably some's going to get there. But studies have shown when you use a brush before you play each record and you get off those particles that you can visibly see, you're putting just as much back on the record as you got off, or approximately as much. So now I've done side one, and I'll flip it over, and I'll do side two the same way, and then I've got a simple dish. That I'm gonna a dish rack. I'm just gonna put that in. But that's a look at the music hall WCS, I believe it is 5, the music hall record cleaning machine, basically. Uh, uh, and a look at how I clean records, and a little bit of advice you can take or leave about some of the little nuances of cleaning records properly. A couple of things I'll take note of when I got the record cleaning machine. Now I've been cleaning records, a fairly long time, so I wasn't unfamiliar with how this was going to work and everything like that. But I did know they didn't send any type of instructions or anything in the box. Nothing. No helpful hints or suggestions or anything like that. I think they probably should have done that. Because if I was totally new to cleaning my records, I would need and hope for something like that. Some of the positives I see are that the record is sitting outside the machine, so I'm not flooding the machine like I was the VPI. Uh, it's not running down the side. The liquid's not running down the side of the machine or anything like that. And as I said, the machine is made of some sort of aluminum or metal. It weighs 21 pounds, 22 pounds, something like that. That's what the shipping weight said from FedEx. They say it weighs 25 pounds, but when it shipped, it was shipped at like 21 or 22 pounds. But, it seems to hold up well. Uh, there's a drain tube on the back. The drain tube's not long enough because I usually have a gallon jug down there, and I'll open the drain tube and stick it in there and leave it there and let it drain as it needs to. That's what I did with the VPI. This tube is not long enough, so I can't just do it that way. I've got to hold a jug up to it with the drain tube and empty it. The motor is not that loud. It's about the same as the VPI. I calculated it on my phone using one of those apps at around 89 or 90 dBs on that medium setting. Now, the higher you set the suction, the louder it's going to be. And I really like that the wand sets down on its own and it's very smooth and it aligns really well with it. So hopefully that will continue. Haven't really seen the need to use the reverse platter or anything like that. But it's there if I do need it, and I haven't really seen any need to increase suction. But at least this one allows you to figure out what you think is the best level for the vacuum to suction. I don't know, is it rude to talk about money? This record cleaning machine regularly was selling for $799. And it is on sale as of the taping of this video in February of 2025. It's on sale 31% off, $250 off. So I got it for $549, and they didn't take tax. They didn't add tax to that, and it was free shipping. So that was the flat cost, no shipping. No, I guess they factored the tax in with the sale itself. So I'll clean the other side of this record and let it dry on the rack here for a little while. And while I'm at it, I'll probably clean 10 or 20 records this afternoon. Thanks for the visit. I hope everybody's doing well. And I want everybody to remember, be kind to everybody. We're all neighbors. So be kind to your neighbors. Take care.